Well, today I was just having such a good time watching birds outside of the car as we were trying to unload our groceries. It was such a joy. So, what happened here, if you see these little birds here, I'll identify them at the end of the video if you want to stick around to the end. Or you can fast forward if you're interested in finding out what they're called. So we have a couple birds here. We've got a couple males and a female that comes and goes. And I so I hurt my arm and I had some soil I needed to bring to the backyard, but I basically got a couple steps out of the car and left it. And then I had some bird seed, same kind of deal. I went to Tractor Supply Company and got like this 50 pound, I think it's like 20 or 50, it's like a 50-pound bag of sunflower seeds. And I was going to bring it for the chickens. And we have like this whole setup with metal tin cans or whatever so that animals can't get into it. And I just got a couple feet away from the car and I was like, I can't carry it anymore. I've got some like tennis elbow or something. And so I left it there and I've been busy. No judgment, please. And so a lot of things that I was started didn't get finished, including the big bag of birdseed. Well, I'll tell you what, some squirrels chewed a hole in the side of the birdseed bag, and then I have tons of different kinds of birds and squirrels coming to eat from it every single day. I think they've eaten, I don't know, was that a 20-pound bag or 40-pound bag? It's a 40-pound bag of sunflower seeds. I think it's about halfway gone. I think they've eaten about 20 pounds so far. And it's been there since like the first week of school starting back because I've just been too overwhelmed and my arm hurts too much to move it. And so here you have all these birds coming in, and I could see that there's males and females and different species of birds. Sometimes when I first started gardening, I thought, oh wow, all these species of birds, and I didn't realize that some like half of them were male, half of them were female, and they look a little bit different. So I do love to check out the Audubon Society website and do a little bit of bird identification. It's a lot of fun when you hear the bird calls that wake you up in the morning and then you recognize what kind of bird it is. It's kind of special. So I kind of want to showcase that at the end so you can kind of see what these birds are. Um, it's interesting how you I just drive up to the house and get out of the car, and me and my daughter sat in the car watching the birds for a while. I mean, it was probably a good 10 minutes where we just like sat in the car. It's like we're kind of like at Northwest Trek right now, except that it's birds instead of antelope and bison. If you've never been to Northwest Trek, it's awesome. You definitely need to go there. If you're in Washington State, Northwest Trek is a really cool experience. And so we're looking at the birds, and every time we get out of the car, it's different birds. And I always feel bad because they get scared away when you get out of the car. So we just sat there for a while just watching them, and I was trying to get as many of them on film as possible. I wish the background was a little bit neater. It's just I just been overwhelmed. So there's like a little fish tank there that's actually a slug habitat. For my science class, I was just overwhelmed and I need to wash it out really good. That bird right there, that one, my daughter was like, "What the heck is that?" So I'm going to definitely show you what that is and let you listen to some of their calls, some of the bird calls on Audubon Society. They have recorded sounds of how the songs are, and it's really interesting to listen to. So right there, you just saw two different species of birds within like a couple inches of each other, and some of them I couldn't quite get the full shot to see what they were, but this one right here is the one. Yep, there you go. So that one there is a male, and I'll tell you what it is later. And the other one you see there, I don't know if it's a male or a female. The website didn't tell me if they had different colorations. They only showed me one color for that one, but that one has spotted wings, has a black head and spotted wings, um, on the sides, and they are just going crazy over those black sunflower seeds, black oil sunflower seeds. Man, I'm gonna definitely have to buy and maybe a couple more bags. My daughter was even saying this is why they're going to be here during winter and this is why how they're going to survive. So now that they are all eating from this area, it kind of is my responsibility. I've seen them eating seeds from weeds. So that's one of the reasons why I don't overweed my yard and property. Also, this isn't the right year for nesting, but I've also had the little pair of birds nesting in the yard before too. So I'm going to show you now the osprey birds that I saw. I think it was summertime. Let's I want you to hear their song, so I'm going to like kind of go away for a second and come back and show you. So I did identify the last set of birds as osprey, and the sound that they were making was the sound that apparently they make to protect their nest. This was during the summertime, and it sounded just like this. So I'm sure that this was correct. They are osprey. I am not familiar with them until this last year, but apparently they are common in my state. As you can see, it's red, and that means breeding area is common. So they're not here all year long, but they come here to breed. And I was concerned that they might try to eat the birds in my yard, or maybe my little dogs. um, we did have a family member whose dog got carried off by an owl, survived but was never the same. So they eat mostly fish. It says they will rarely eat small mammals, birds, or reptiles. So I now am very happy that they're around. I don't mind that they're up there. They're beautiful. At first, I was like, is that a bald eagle? Because we have lots of bald eagles in our area, but they are osprey. So that was super, super neat. Um, yeah, I mean, we see crows. I think they're probably trying to protect their nest from crows. But that sound that they made was definitely the right bird call. So I'm confident that these are osprey. And they're beautiful. Aren't they incredible? Have you seen osprey in your area? So I actually want to look at the other two birds I identified for you and for me. Um, One of them was called dark-eyed junco, and I've looked these guys up before, but I just always forget their names. But it's this one right here, and I wasn't 100% sure because this doesn't really look exactly like what I saw. So I cross referenced it with another website. I will link both of the websites in the comments and the description. But you can definitely see this was the male and this is the female. And like it really looked like if you ever seen like Dutch dwarf rabbits, where they're half black, half white. I used to have a male that was half gray, half white, and the female was half black and half white. And that's kind of how I think of the Juncos. It's kind of like those Dutch dwarf rabbits, how they had that color pattern. Um, and so those are really cute. So this is the female, this is the male, and they make this sound. Okay, and I have to tell you that funny story. One, I like to sleep with the window partially cracked in the summertime so I can hear the birds and have the fresh cold air and everything. My doctor said don't do that for my asthma, but I would enjoy that. And I heard the sound, and I swear I thought it was a bird sound. And then later I was like, no, that's the neighbor's sprinkler system. And so my neighbor and I laughed about it and everything because it sounded like this. which also sounds a heck of a lot like a sprinkler system. So I was like, your sprinkler system is making me up in the morning. It wasn't. It was the birds. They were so loud. Um, so I don't know what that was about, but that year they were so loud. I do hear that all the time. And I was like, you know, definitely that I had it right the first time, and I was confused. I thought it was a sprinkler system. So that sprinkler system sound is the Junco. So if you hear that, maybe you have the same kind of birds. Listen. See, that's what I was hearing. So these birds, they like to eat a lot of the pests in the garden, like caterpillars, beetles, grasshoppers, and I have like too many spiders. Like I like spiders, but there are too many in my garden. So it's okay with me. And now I have seen the males eating some of my sour cherries. And that doesn't bother me too much because I like the sweet cherries myself. And I have seen them. I'm not sure if they're eating the grapes, but there have been birds eating my grapes for sure. I left them on the vine too long, and that's okay because by the time that they'd be past their prime, the birds are eating them. I've also noticed that birds are eating the roni berry this year. This is the first year ever that I've had wild birds eating the roni berries. I've had them stay on the plants like all winter before, and I've actually seen the birds eating them. So I think the populations have gotten big enough that they are really foraging for food. That's one of the things that is a concern with feeding birds is that they might forget how to forage and they depend on you. And then if you don't continue to give them food, then they're going to suffer and possibly die. So now that they've discovered that big bag of black sunflower seeds, I'm going to have to set up a system for them. And if you want to click like and subscribe, I'll show that to you guys. But I've got a whole plan worked out in my mind, and I'll be repurposing some things in a kind of unconventional way. So definitely look at these cutie pies. The males and the females look different. Sometimes you might think you have more species than you really have because of that gender difference. Let's look at the last kind of bird I wanted to share with you. My daughter saw it and she was really surprised because she had never seen a bird like this. Now, it's called I'm not sure how to say it, spotted Towie or spotted Towie. I think it's spotted Towie. It sounds like this. That sound reminds me of my childhood. I remember hearing that sound all the time in the mornings when I used to live by a lake. The lake was actually in my backyard. And I remember hearing that sound all the time. I wonder if there were some birds like this living nearby that I never noticed them. But they also eat similar things as the juncos. So they eat beetles, caterpillars, snails, seeds, berries, small fruits. So same kind of deal. And then it looks like they're also here all season and they're common. And I saw some in the backyard many years ago. I don't know if the males and females, I think they look different. They do look considerably different. Yeah. So I remember seeing them close together and thinking, there's two different birds there. And then I realized it's a male and a female. So they're beautiful. Aren't they beautiful? Anyway, I wanted to show those to you guys. And those are not the only types of birds that have been frequenting that area. I know that area of the yard is really a mess, but I'm kind of reluctant to mess with it because I've seen hundreds of birds coming to that area. So I'm going to set up a couple different bird feeders so that they're not all trying to congregate in the same places. Just for like sanitation and their health, I want to make sure that they don't get sicker, get diseases, spread diseases, and things like that. I'm going to also do some small bird feeders, but then do some large bird feeders too, and kind of spread it out so that there's not competition. And then also so they don't forget how to forage. Anyway, I hope that this is interesting to you, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments below, what kinds of birds do you notice in your garden this time of year? Are you feeding them, or are you providing them natural ways of feeding themselves? Several years ago, I planted just tons of sunflowers, and I left them with the seeds on them. And that way they had natural bird feeders all winter long. And that was a really cool thing to do. I think I might do that again next year. And I'll have enough for us, and then leave some out for the birds. And then we'll do like the gray striped mammoth sunflowers for us, and then we'll do the little black seeded sunflowers for the birds, and leave them right there. Like, don't even cut them down. Just leave them right there on the stem, on the flowers, and let the birds feed themselves. So that's my plan. I'm also thinking of planting millet, and I've already got seeds for it. I've got seeds for sorghum, seeds for all kinds of different things that I think will be really fun. And if you want to see those projects in the future, they're a long ways away because we will be planting those things in the spring. But if you hit like and subscribe, you'll make sure that you don't miss it. All right, everybody. God bless, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care now.